What's up YouTube? Today's video is going to be about some hidden Flask Tech, the latest rips in the Gauntlet, and me corrupting my most expensive item ever. So this is a claw that I have that was given to me by a viewer who wanted me to corrupt it just for funds. So he had another claw that he double corrupted. I don't know if you guys remember the earlier video. And I guess he made another one. So this one is level 20 crit strikes, level 20 ruthless, 18 multi-strike, 20 crit damage, 20 elemental damage of attacks. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is pretty much the 9-link claw, right? So he has crit strikes, ruthless, multi-strike, crit damage, elemental damage of attacks, and socketed skills deal 40% more attack damage. So it's pretty much as good as it's ever going to get. Now, it's kind of interesting to corrupt this item, but you could technically get a 10-link claw because you could get like Fortify and Onslaught on it on the implicit. So it's not like the worst idea in the world to corrupt it, and 46 life gain for each enemy hit by attacks can be made up for a life gain on hit Watcher's Eye with Vitality if you were able to get one. So it's pretty good, right? So at this point, I'm pretty nervous. I've never actually corrupted an item that's expensive. You can see what happens now. So I pretty much just immediately clicked it. I really didn't want to poof it. So I'm kind of like, should I really do this or should I not really do it? And I'm like, well, the guy wanted me to do it, so I might as well do it. So immediately, item did not disappear, right? I'm pretty happy, pleased with the result. And let's see what we get. We get 8 to 13 cold damage, 11% chance to gain a frenzy charge on kill. Not too bad, not too bad. So probably not better than the original implicit. 11% chance to gain a frenzy charge on kill is kind of useless because we usually use Blood Rage. But 18 to 30 flat cold damage is definitely not that bad. And it is going to be more damage on Path of Building for a profile compared to the life gain on hit, which doesn't really factor in. So overall, I would consider it a big win. And he's probably going to Scourge it 3 times after this, which could make it actually just crazy. It could actually get triple damage or something like that. But it was pretty fun corrupting an item this expensive. I don't know if I'll ever do one that expensive again because it would suck losing like 10 to 12 meters missing out on the corrupt. So let's go check out the Flask Tech that was used in the Gauntlet and how you can actually apply this to your later characters. So right now I believe there are 3 pretty overpowered Flask Techs that's being used. And it's not like overpowered, it's just the way the game works currently. But in the recent past, they did add the ability to roll flasks to have a lot of different tiers. And one of the flask mods they added was gain charges when hit by enemy. At the highest tier bracket of level 80, there is the mod gain 7 charges when you're hit by an enemy. So when you're doing invitation and bosses, you will pretty much be able to have your jade, granite, quartz, quicksilver flask up the entire duration, or you can even swap out the quicksilver for another defensive flask. Now, the nice thing about this is that during a fight, you'll probably be hit by an enemy quite a few times. So if you even get hit 5 times, all your flasks will be used again. And all of these are also enchanted with use when charges reach full. So it's pretty much like you have a pseudo Mageblood when you do fights where you actually get hit somewhat. And getting hit a few times is really not that crazy in these fights, especially invitations of how many mobs there are that spawn. So doing this Flask Tech with the gain, the masochist, or with flagellants, along with using the orb that makes it so you use when charges reach full, makes it so that you pretty much are able to have your defensive flask up like the whole time during an invitation. And it's actually really good tech. I hope they actually don't remove it in the new patch, next patch, because I do feel like it's incredible quality of life. It is also kind of like using a Mageblood when you don't really have one because you always have to flask up. Now, before people say it's not really close to a Mageblood, of course it's not close to a Mageblood because you miss out on being able to roll 25% increased effect on the prefix, and you miss out on the Enkindling Orb giving you 70% increased effect. So pretty much Mageblood is able to give you 95% increased effect of the flask on top of that. And this is pretty much only just the flask itself and also the suffix mod. Now, another thing that is pretty commonly used is this simmering or bubbling divine life flask. So there's a tech right now where if you don't have a suffix on the bubbling life flask, it will not be used unless you drop below 100% HP. What this means is that you can enchant it with 36 or whatever 90 max charges from Harvest, and it will pretty much act as having like an extra 20 to 30,000 HP buffer. So the way you can use this is, I don't know if you guys remember about the numlock trick. You could technically even numlock the number that this flask is used, and it will get automatically used whenever you drop below a certain, whenever you drop below 100% HP. So it will just be spamming the number 1 key in this case if your flasks are brown on 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whenever, and then whenever, and it won't use the flask. It will only use the flasks when your HP goes below 100%. So what this means is that on invitations, you will have like, I don't even know how many charges you will have to use on this flask, but you will have probably like 10, 15 charges perhaps. And every time you drop below 100% HP, you can either manually be spamming it and you will immediately recover your HP back because you're pretty much spamming it. So it's like you're able to predict the incoming damage. Or you could use the numlock trick and pretty much have a type of auto flask going on that's perfectly legal. Now, this is kind of a weird interaction that I didn't really know about before, and this only works because there's no suffix on the flask. So you have to use a simmering divine life flask or bubbling divine life flask with no suffix on it, and you can pretty much just spam the flask whenever you think you're in trouble. So if you think you're going to get hit by maybe some Minotaur rocks while doing the formed invitation, or you think you're going to get hit by any like sort of projectile attack that will do a lot of damage at once, you can just spam the button while you're running around, and you will actually have an insane amount of extra EHP. So this tech, I think, is probably something that I'll probably be using in the upcoming gauntlets or even this next trade league, softcore trade, because I do think it is really, really powerful to have that much of an HP buffer, especially on really hard fights. Now, I don't know if it will actually stay around, and I don't really think it's a bug either. I just think it's a very, very OP interaction. Now, the next thing we have here is this was actually found by some other YouTuber, and I just wanted to enlighten people about it. So right now, there is this mod on Pathfinder and Ascendant that is recover percent of life when you use a flask. So here is recover 6% of life when you use a flask, and Ascendant also has one recover 4% of life when you use a flask. Now, the nice part about this is that you can run 5 utility flasks. So you use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You roll them all to have gained 7 charges when you are hit by an enemy. And you're able to use 20 of 60 charges, right? So there's flasks that have 20 of 60 uses. So flasks like, I guess sulfur is unusable. So you could amethyst is unusable. But basically all of the resist flasks you could use. So if you use all of the flasks that have 20 of 50 and you roll them to have flagellants to gain 7 charges when hit, you could theoretically make it if you take every single flask, the main flask nodes on a tree that grant you increased flash charges gained, and you also have reduced flash charges used, and you have reduced flash charges used on your belt, or you can even get flash charges gained on your belt. But basically, there's an equation so that you can get around hundreds, like I don't remember how much it is. I think it's like 20% reduced flash charges and like 100% increased flash charges gain. And you're able to make it so that when you take a hit, you gain back all of your flash charges, because you gain 7 charges and you can reduce the 20 to like 13 charges used if you have 20 to 30% reduced flash charges used, and if you have like 100% flash charges gained. So every time you take a hit and you use this thing, these flasks, you will immediately pop all 5 of your utility flasks. And when you pop all 5 of your utility flasks, you will gain 30% life if you're a Pathfinder and 20% life if you're a Scion Ascendant. Now what this means is that you pretty much cannot get killed by a lot of the GMP stuff in the Gauntlet, and you can also not get killed by anything that's not a one-shot that does less than 30% of your damage of your life, because you'll immediately heal it back up. Now, this is incredibly good if you can also stack some other sort of defenses so that you can minimize your hit, so that you rarely ever take 30% or more damage. Now, do note that this tech does not make you immortal. If you take like a series of 35% damage hits or 40% damage hits, you will die, because each hit you will still take 10% damage if you were taking 40% damage originally. But this does mean that you can probably tank Veritania and all of its attacks, it will probably make the hidden invitation in the breach invitation a complete joke because most of the attacks are all shotguns that don't do over 30% of your life. So this is really, really strong for tanky characters. However, the main problem is that you're limited to Ascendant, which is a very, very good versatile ascendancy, and Pathfinder, which is not as versatile, and not that many people use it. So I just wanted to introduce those Flask Techs. I think the most OP one in terms of everyday practical use is probably just rolling gain 7 charges when used on hit by enemy, and it's pretty much having like a pseudo Mageblood. And the other one with the Divine Life Flask or bubbling Divine Life Flask with no suffix could be very, very OP with the numblock trick actually, and I can't wait to try it out next league. But now let's go take a look at the new rips that we saw. I did actually see some new ones from my last video, or since my last video, and I just wanted to share it real fast. So here we have our favorite streamer, Matt, though, and it is Azaro, the #1 killer in Path of Exile, and it is quite dangerous, right? He jumps, so he's going to definitely get killed by the only thing that Azaro can kill you with, which is projectiles falling on top of your head. Now this is Uberlab. Now Uberlab, if you stand inside of one of these totems, it makes you take increased 50% damage taken, and that's pretty much why he died, because he was inside of that totem's aura. But very unfortunate death, and he does say it's chat's fault, but it's no one's fault really. It's Azaro's fault. So let's look at this one here, and it says Harvest. This is actually the first one we've seen of Harvest. So this is Dead They Dead, and what the... That is actually insane. Oh, his flash were popped until way too late. But I'm actually surprised he could do that much damage. Maybe it's because, oh, he doesn't run Grace. Not running Grace is pretty bad in general, especially on this build. He's running Defiance Man. He has Tempest Shield. Herald of Ash and Vitality is probably not the play. But that's actually kind of crazy. But I do think if he had Grace, he might have survived. I'm not sure if that is a projectile attack that can be evaded. So this is Stagnation Boss. It's pretty scary. He usually throws a rock at you, but I think in this case, he walks into these little puddles on the ground. And I don't think he has that much Chaos Res. And a lot of his pull is hybrid, right? So that's why it does so much damage. Kind of unfortunate death. It's kind of hard to see the little puddles on the ground. Now, Garata, I saw this death live on Steel Street. Basically, he's doing Maven. He doesn't want to log out because he has bad internet connection, so he has packet loss.
Oh, fuck. I'm so...
Oh, no. So he hits the degen beam, so he can't regenerate life up. So that's why... And then he just doesn't want to log.
Oh, fuck. I'm
That's
so bad.
Such a heartbreaking rip, but it's pretty much the internet's fault, right? So here we have Karn's rip, another one. This guy's just been having the worst luck in the Gauntlet, I think. So I don't even know what this boss is. So your guess is as good as mine as to what will happen. I do know this is a heist boss because it says repository in the top right. And wow, those attacks look pretty scary. I'm assuming he just gets one-shotted. Whoa. So this attack must have some overlapping AoE, kind of like Round Slam or something, because I cannot believe that he got one-shotted by that. And there's no way that there's not some overlapping action going on. So if you know what this boss actually does, and if there's overlapping AoE, let me know in the comments down below. So wow, Darky actually died. Let's see.
But obviously, like, if you're a little weak.
So he's doing that some Delirium. He's walking around. Is this a Conqueror map? I think it is because it said it in the description. Now, Drox, right? He actually died so fast, I actually don't even know what killed him. I don't know if the Delirium doesn't even make you take more damage, though. It makes the mobs tankier, but maybe the mobs tankier pretty much made him die because he didn't instantly kill it with his Seismic. But pretty sad. But I don't really know what the mods or roles on the map were. Maybe it was some damage mods or crit. You never know. So let's see. Delve Death. So this one is not something you really see that often. Wow.
Yeah.
Ow. This makes me not want to go delve. Is this just a bunch of little explodies? I don't even know. That is actually. I watched this a few times and I just don't know what happened. I guess he just got hit by the explosion and died. Wow. So this is the next one, Map Trash Ritual. I never see a ritual death this league yet. I guess he probably gets bled and dies. Let's see. So what does this violent thing do? Does it make you take more fizz damage? He might just get one-shotted, honestly, with Volt on him. Or he stands against the wall and gets shotgunned by the fire. So like a lot of stuff in this game, I think you get shotgun the fire, especially if it hits the wall, does like an AoE. So if you stand against a wall, it's super, super dangerous. So what do we learn here? Lots of different ways to die in the event. Some lag, some harvest, some heist, some delve. Everything is pretty dangerous, right? But hopefully the Flask Tech and me corrupting the double, the what's it called, the 12-link claw is pretty fun to watch. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you find more mirrors, mage bloods, and exalts to me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.